Hey guys, so today is round 2 of the World Chess Olympiad in Batumi, Georgia. Now, most of the games are still in progress, but I have decided to cover one of the games that has just ended. So in this video, we're taking a look at table number 3, so the clash between France and Uruguay. So on board 1, we have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave for France, and for Uruguay, Andres Rodriguez. So Maxime needs no further introduction. He is one of the best players in the world. Rodriguez, on the other hand, is one of Uruguay's best players. He was the former Uruguayan champion, so definitely a strong player. So in this game, Rodriguez had white and MVL had the black pieces. The game opens with e4. We have the Sicilian defense from Maxime, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight to f6, knight to c3, and here a6. Maxime goes for his favorite Nadjorf variation. Bishop to e3, e5, so the knight retreats, bishop to e6, and here rook to g1 from Rodriguez. The idea is simply to push g4 and g5. Maxime plays knight to g4, attacking the dark square bishop. Here queen to d3, so preparing to meet knight takes e3 with queen takes e3. And here white is simply going to cancel queenside, and because there is no longer a knight on f6, white can play knight to d5. So this is okay for white. So after queen to d3, instead of taking the bishop, Maxime plays bishop to e7. And here bishop d2, so white doesn't want to give up the bishop yet. And here knight takes h2 from MVL, so simply grabbing a pawn. We have bishop to e2, and here the threat is to play queen to g3, and this will trap black's knight. So MVL plays knight to g4. We have bishop takes g4, bishop takes g4, knight to d5. So it's always good if you can occupy your knight on d5. Knight to c6, queen to g3, here h5 defending this bishop, and here if f3 with the idea of simply castling on the next move doesn't work, because simply bishop to h4 would pin the queen. So here knight takes e7 from Rodriguez, knight takes e7, f3, bishop retreats. And here white could castle, but Rodriguez decides to grab the pawn on g7. Queen takes g7. We have rook to g8, queen to h6, and here a5 from MVL. So this move sort of discourages white to castle queenside because simply a4. But Rodriguez castles anyway. We have a4, and this knight doesn't really have a good square to go to. The only square is knight to a1. Here capturing the pawn is fine, but MVL goes for queen to c7. So he is simply going to bring his queen closer to white's king. a3 from white. We have queen to c4, c3, so this makes room for the knight to come to c2, and it would guard the a1 square from black's queen. We have queen to a2, knight to c2, and here knight to c6, so MVL is trying to bounce his knight over to b3. Bishop to g5, this creates a flight square for the king. Knight to a5, and here it is quite difficult already for white to defend its position. If knight b4, then simply queen to a1. And if king to c2, bishop b3 check. And here black has a fantastic position. Well, even after king d2, queen takes b2, this is great for black. Rodriguez tries rook takes d6. After knight to b3, king comes to d1, queen b1 check, and here bishop to c1. But this seems like white's position is just on the edge, and at any moment it might crumble. King to e7 from MVL, so this connects the rooks, and he might be considering doubling on the g file. We have rook to d5, rook to g6, queen to e3, rook a to g8, We have rook takes e5, and now MVL crashes through. Rook takes g2, we have rook takes g2, rook takes g2. Here knight to e1, that's not, the knight was under fire. We have rook takes b2, this bishop is pinned, so this rook is immune for now. And here black is simply threatening to play rook to d2 check, and white would have to give up his queen. We have queen to g5 check, so white is desperately trying to find some sort of perpetual. King to d7, rook to b5. So this looks at the pawn, but here simply knight takes c1. So this opens up an attack on the rook and also defending the b7 point. And if queen takes c1, simply rook takes b5 wins for black. So here white plays rook to d5 check, and it would be a big mistake to play bishop takes d5 because you give white what he wants, a perpetual. So if king to c8, well, this is just one of the lines. Give a check, and if king comes to a7, queen to a5, and you simply repeat the process. So here we have king to c6, rook to c5 check, king to b6, and well, white is simply running out of checks. This square is covered by black. We have queen to d8 check, here king takes c5, queen to c7, king to b5, white checks again with the pawn, c4, here king to a6, and well, white simply runs out of checks. And in this position, Rodriguez resigned the game. He could play queen to d6 check, but simply something like rook to b6, and white runs out of checks. So I hope you enjoyed this game, and MVL definitely showed why he is one of the world's leading expert in the Nadjorf variation. So do subscribe for more updates on the Chess Olympiad. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.